Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson, and this is how to beat Wolves. Probably the least interesting preview that we could have, though I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit more exciting because we are going to pick a very rotated side. Now, it's the last game of the season. United are dead in second, and Wolves are in 12th with no real hope of any European football. They're in no threat of relegation. They're playing for, can they go up a position or two in the league? They've largely underachieved this season. The last couple of seasons, they was like getting a bit of a reputation. They was getting a bit of momentum about them, and they, being part of this like George Mendes sort of breeding ground of Portuguese players getting into the Premier League. They'd had quite a bit of success, and I think they're probably going to lose some players in the summer because they're going to have gone, I was sold like a Champions League dream, and we are a long, long way off that. I'm out of here. They've only won one in their last 5 league games. They've got 3 losses, 1 draw. They are not in good form. And their home form, as is everyone's, is really average with 7 wins, 4 draws, 7 losses. And they're actually better at home than they are away. So a bit of a tough one. Starman, no surprises here. A player I'd love to see at United if we fail to land someone like a Jadon Sancho, and that's Adama Traore. The reason I would love to go with Adama Traore because I think he's so different to what we have in the squad, and he's someone who actually wants to run at people, and I think he'd be a big asset to us, and I think he's pretty much wasted at Wolves. They've been pretty toothless without Raul Jimenez, and although Traore's stats aren't the best, he's still the biggest danger on a team that's pretty stumbled for a while, and it's also been ravaged by injury a little bit as well. He's only got 3 goals and 2 assists in 40 games this season, but he averages 1.5 key passes per game, which is second on the team behind Neto. He does still create, and he can be very effective. He's arguably the fastest and most powerful footballer in the world, which is no mean accolade, I guess, and it's not inconsequential. I think there's a lot to like about Adama Traore. He's absolutely unstoppable 1v1, and he's extremely difficult to pick up once he gets up ahead of steam. And he is the second most foul player in the league with 86, behind only Grealish, who has 106, and he's just difficult to stop when he gets going. He leads the league by a country mile in completed dribbles with 169, with the next biggest player being Marcus Rashford with 94. So that tells you exactly how he likes to play the game and what he's trying to do when he gets on the ball. Now, Nuno Espirito Santos came into the league very much favouring the 3-4-3, but injuries and issues surrounding his team and probably form as well as sort of really started to favour a 2 up front rather than a 3, and he's switched to a 3-4-1-2 on occasion. Occasionally looks like a 3-5-2 in order to compensate for the lack of forwards due to injury or purely down to the lack of results and performance that he's been having in the team. Here's what I think they're going to go with, and I do think it will be the 3-4-1-2. I think it'll be Ruddy, Bowley, Cody and Kilman, Semedo, Neves and Martinho, Aina Gibbs White, Fabio Silva and Adama. They're missing Jimenez, Neto, Podence and Johnny, which is why you can see they've had to adapt that formation. Wolves are a team that do like to play possession football when they can, but they also have the ability to sit deep and break out quite effectively in a counter-attacking style. They generally prefer to build out from the back instead of hitting it direct or long, averaging 49.1% possession this season, but are 5th in the league in terms of short pass completion, 89% behind Liverpool, City, Chelsea and United, and they're fairly tidy when they get on it. They're a good football inside. Positionally, they do like to play out from a back 3, and they spread out wide to occupy the full width of the pitch as this expands. It gives them a bit more freedom. It makes it a bit more adequately spaced when it comes to the sorts of passing lanes, and it gives them the opportunity to distribute the ball through midfield and up the pitch quite effectively. They look like black belts compared to United playing out the back. It's embarrassing, if anything. When opposing teams press high, their forward 3 players match up with their 3 centre-halves, man for man. One of their deep line playmakers, usually Neves, occasionally Martinho, and sometimes even Dendoncker, drop in between Cody and one of the wider centre-backs to overload, stop the press and help facilitate passing out of the defence. And sometimes they will go man for man and take some risks doing it. They're very good at this. United could actually learn a lot with how they play out from the back because they are very, very good at this. They also love to create wide overloads with the wide forwards that they've got and also the wing backs, and they flood into the box. They have the 5th worst goal-scoring record in the league, which tells you why they've struggled this season. No Raul Jimenez has been a massive miss for them. They've only got 35 goals in 37 games. There's no cutting edge to their play. They've not also been stellar on the other end either, though. They've conceded 50, which is pretty much bang average in the league table, and that's why they've ended up where they are. With a goal scorer, a bit like Brighton, they would move significantly up the table and would comfortably be better than the likes of Arsenal. They are second in the league for chances created from a successful dribble, only behind City, which is largely through the dribbling ability of probably Podence, Neto, and of course Adama Traore. But 2 out of those 3 are not fit. They've created a total of 180 carries into the penalty area this season, which is more than United, Arsenal, Tottenham. And it's something to watch with the defence. Now, depending who plays on the left-hand side, which is where I think that you're going to likely to see Adama sort of try and line up, I wouldn't have been worried if it was Wan-Bissaka on the right. I'm not even necessarily worried if it's on the left, to be honest. It's more about which centre-half he might try and go for, especially if they're playing a narrow 2. If it's against Lindelof, I would worry. I really would, especially when you saw what Fulham did. Lookman and Gisa, Carvalho, they got a lot of joy against Lindelof, and I think that if they've watched tape this week, that's one of the things they'll have identified as a place that they could hurt United and actually get a little bit of joy. They are last in the league for defensive pressures in their attacking third, suggesting that they're not coming to press, although playing against United, I definitely would. I would try and press us passing out the back because we're shit at it. It's quite a negative approach that they've used to get those decent numbers. Defensively, they protect those 3 centre-halves from getting isolated. It drops back into a back 5 when defending, and that's something that United are going to have to try and figure out how to overcome it. For United, this game is a don't get injured exercise and be prepared for what's coming in the Eruopa League Final on Wednesday. So I've gone with a fully rotated side. I've heard that De Gea's, through the MEN, not through anyone I know, heard that it's going to be De Gea in the final. I don't necessarily think that means anything. So I think it'll be Hendo. I think Williams and Tellez are going to come back in with Axel and Lindelof. Matic, Van der Beek getting a run out. Mata in perhaps a farewell game for him and perhaps a farewell game for Matic as well. Diallo, James and Greenwood rounding out the forward 3. You got to rest Rashford. You got to rest Bruno. You're probably going to have to rest Fred and McTominay because, let's be honest, they're playing. He might even go with a rest of Lindelof. Him being like the only fit probable first choice defender that we've got. I think you've got to rest Shaw and Wan-Bissaka because they're certain to play. So I think that this game, it'd be nice to finish with a win, of course. But honestly, if you win this and lose on Wednesday, does anyone give a fuck? It's all about winning on Wednesday and probably not getting embarrassed tomorrow. So I would say that's what I would go with. Give some minutes to people and let's focus on what's going to happen on Wednesday, really, because it's irrelevant. We could win this 5-6-0. If we don't win on Wednesday, literally no one will care. Literally no one will care. So how does this team beat Wolves? So Wolves last season played a style where they largely looked to frustrate teams. And that's not necessarily what you've been used to seeing with Wolves. They tend to be a little bit more adventurous, or they have been a bit more adventurous. This year they've looked, probably because of the injuries and lack of players that they've had, they've looked to try and turn that 3 into a 5. And it's rough to try and beat them on transition because they've always got +1 or +2, if not 3 on you. The only way you can do it is hit them on the transition. The line steps up and it does leave a little bit of space in behind, and you can certainly start to stretch. Cavani, if he was playing, would have been brilliant, but Greenwood's learning those Cavani runs one-to-one with him. I would love to see us try and stretch, say down the left or down the right, and then pull into the inside channel and move some of those centre-halves around. That's where I think you can find the gaps. If you can attack while the wing backs are high. You can manipulate that back three, especially if you've got someone being an out-and-out number 9. Juan Mata could be key in this if it's him that's playing, or Bruno if it ends up being him, because those balls into the final third, in just behind, where a defender thinks he can get it, so he's drawn towards it, and he's moved out of position just in time for someone to maybe check back or change direction and try and get a shot off. Bollitt and Cody favour defending crosses, aerial duels. They're physical. They don't like it on the floor. A little bit of speed, a little bit of agility, a little bit of quickness, a little bit of one-touch play in and around them, which this team is capable of doing, and the let's be honest, the first team would have been more capable of doing, and you're going to find them wanting. If we can press high, they don't really like that. You can maybe nick it because they take a little bit of a risk. I think you can do something with it here, but because they play out at all costs, I shouldn't have said they don't really like that. It's their go-to. They do like it, but they're not going to like you pressing them hard in those areas because they are going to play out no matter what. It's like United sometimes. You go, I know you're not going long, so let's just have you. The pressing is going to be necessary because it gives the worst case scenario if they do drop Neves or Martinho back to try and collect the ball, let's say on the edge of the box, is it gives United that extra bit of wall in midfield, and it makes it harder for them to play through us because their playmakers are so far back. That is a place then when United can start to squeeze, try and look for a turnover in those areas, and you're going to be a little bit more successful in trying to get a shot off on those. We can't play slow and pedestrian in this because that'll allow them to get back. It's going to allow them to reset, and that's why I went with Van der Beek and Mata. Matic just as a sitter in there, just to try and break anything up when they try and break on us, because that's what they're going to try and do. I expect United's line to be very high in this, and I expect that we're going to just try and look to get in behind them. Look, the most important thing here is just win a fucking game, lads. Go out, just do the business, don't get injured, don't do anything fucking stupid, tie a nice little bow on the season, say, well done, you came second, it was a good progress, now go and win the fucking Europa League. That's it. That's all that matters. So, there's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. Give us your score predictions and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one. Laters.